Hello friends, thanks for watching. Today we're working on a 2006 GMC Envoy. Happens to be my own vehicle. And we're going to do two things here. We're going to do the water pump, which is behind that pulley. And we're going to do the infamous thermostat, which is down in there. Try to get my light on it here. Just see the edge of it. And I changed this thermostat about a year ago, a little less than a year, and it is already stuck open. I'm not going to say where I got it from, but I am thoroughly disappointed that it is stuck open once again, and I'm not getting good heat. And I know the engine light's going to come on soon. This started happening a couple days ago. So the other thing to mention is the truck's got 177,000 miles on it, and that is still the original water pump. So before something goes bad with that, we're going to go ahead and get that changed out at the same time, since I'm going to have the system drained out anyways. So first thing we got to do is drain the radiator, and the quickest way to do that is just pull the bottom hose off the radiator. So I'm going to get it jacked up. The other thing that I've seen online that people have done to get to this thermostat is to come in through the wheel well, and that might work on a two-wheel drive, but this is a four-wheel drive, and I just highly doubt that I can get in there. Last time I had to take off the alternator, all these brackets right here, and then kind of climb over the front of the truck and reach down in there. So I don't know, I might give it a shot, might just pull the wheel off, see how much access I have, see what it looks like. That sure would be nice, as opposed to taking that alternator off. So let's get started. Okay, we managed to make a mess. Filled up part of one jug, and then of course as soon as I pulled the hose off, it went all over the place. So a little bit of speedy drive we're going to need for that. I did pull this wheel off, and not a lot of light over here right now, but it's supposed to be up through that hole right there, and yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I had to let the jack stand down all the way because, well, it's just too high for me to work on. Next thing I'm going to do is pop these lines off the shroud, because I got to get this whole shroud and fan assembly out. And once I've done that, I'm going to loosen the bolt that holds the clutch fan on. Going to use either a pipe wrench or channel locks. I don't have a special tool. I don't think it's required. This fan clutch is new, so it's been off before. I'm just going to hold those bolts right there and put a pipe wrench or big wrench on this bolt and zip this off. After that, I'm going to take out this bolt over here and this bolt over here, and then the 4 bolts that hold the plastic fan to the back of the electric clutch. What that'll allow that to do is this bolt nut, that is on the back of the electric clutch will fall in to the hole there, and you'll have clearance to get up past here and this filler neck. I have to get this top hose off too, get it out of the way. Alright, long screwdriver. Not sure how much you guys can see. My tripod isn't tall enough. I did finally get a couple of batteries for this little Casio camera that I've had off Amazon. So I got that problem addressed, but as far as quality, you know, it's not going to be the best, but it's better than not recording at all, I suppose. Okay, so got these cooler lines pried back. Yeah, they are quite tight. Yeah, that's going to be some fun. Okay. This top hose off. actually try to pinch those until they snap into themselves, and you just slide them off. But you gotta watch it because they'll get you. And I don't think I have to tell you that that's pretty painful. Now, I've seen videos where people replace the pump by just taking off the clutch fan and the bolt and just kind of let it lay there into the radiator. I really don't want to do that because number one, I don't want to damage the radiator, and number two, I want to be able to get down in there and see what I'm doing. I mean, with this shroud in the way here, you're kind of, you know, it's really tight. So we're not doing it that way. We're doing it the right way. Put this cap on here for a second. It's still draining. Yeah, got me a little gun shy now. See? Oh, I'll tell you, there's no fear of those just falling off. Just going to take my pick and dig under this hose a little bit. I'm not trying to puncture the hose, I'm just trying to break it free. Boy, these things are a pain in the ass, aren't they? Go. Okay. First casualty, that goes in that pile. That's the cam sensor. You want to make sure you don't break that. You got some leakage. Some leakage. Get my bucket. Boy. Frickin' antifreeze, you know? What do you do with this stuff? Okay, so by the way, this engine is not hot. I didn't drive it today, so take something like this. Let's see if I can get this open. Seems like this is too high still. I'm leaving the serpentine belt on until I get this clutch fan off. Actually, because that was off before, I'm going to try and just shock it one time. Somebody bent my pliers. Sharp peen hammer. Pipe wrench. Okay, on it, I'm just gonna hold it, and if there's there's enough room in here for all this. Yeah, I know, if I had the tool, I wouldn't have this problem. Let's see. This is all real time, folks. Well, I hate to do it. I have to get out the stool of death. One of these little step stools that, boy, all it does is just slide around. Alright, I'm just going to give us a couple whacks with a hammer first. Let's see if I can shock it loose. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be so lucky. Yeah, I know you guys probably can't see much, but you know what I can do about that at the moment. I've got to get this off. So, you get the gist of what I'm trying to do here. Alright. It's out. And I know you're going to say, well, you didn't record it. Let me tell you, there was barely enough room for me, not to mention a camera in there. Those lines right there are a bit of a bitch because they get hung up on the back tabs. These tabs here that are sticking through the other side, and it doesn't allow you to pull it out. But I will tell you that you do have to remove the fan. You have to remove the fan from the clutch in order for that mount bolt, step bolt, to come up this way. The side faces the radiator, and it brings us up inside the shroud, and there's probably 1 millimeter of clearance between the shroud, fan, and these bolts right here. And well, obviously it works because it's out. There it is. And you notice the belt is still on. What I'm going to do is put a little arrow, a little white paint stick arrow pointing towards the radiator, because I'm going to take the belt off. This is a fairly new belt, and I want to make sure it goes back on in the same direction. But I'm going to loosen these bolts first while I've got the belt installed and tension on it. It's going to make that a little easier. Zip them right out with my impact. And once I get those loose, we'll take the belt loose. This pulley will come off, and underneath there is the water pump. We can see a little better now, sort of, but back in there is the thermostat, and that's the job I'm not looking forward to. So, on to the next step. Alright, don't fall down. I got you guys up on a milk crate. It's a little precarious. No idea if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to take these 4 bolts out of the pulley. You see I got a little white arrow pointing that way for the belt. When I'm ready to take that off, I'm going to see if my 3/8 drive air ratchet is got enough to take these off. Oh yeah. dropped one. Get away. One will fall into the antifreeze. And there it is. I just want to make sure these are all loose enough. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the belt off, and I'll be able to take the rest of those out by hand. That off so it doesn't keep leaking. I need a 3/8 ratchet somewhere. It's pretty cold today. It's in the 20s. Snowing. I didn't turn the heat on in the garage because, well, got my snowmobile suit on. Crap. And I'm pretty hot just with that. I got the wrench on here. I'm going to push down on it. Careful not to get your fingers in there. And that's off. Don't really have to take it off all the way unless I find that it's you know, in my way. I'm just going to get it down off of this and just leave it up here like that. You guys see? Yeah, I'm just assuming this water pump, I've never known one to last 170, almost 180,000 miles. That just doesn't seem right. But I shouldn't complain, I suppose. But I'm half thinking that the bearings have got to be near shot by now. I'm just going to pry out on this slightly. Pressure on it. Yeah, you can tell it's been on there a while. Yeah, that's on there. That is on there. Just let me try the face of it without hitting the radiator. That's a pleasant noise. Boy, that thing's really on there, ain't it? Huh. Son of a bitch. Well, I wonder if those are... Well, you know, it doesn't sound terrible. Yeah, it's definitely chucking around. Well, I don't know if I got any penetrating fluid left. Try some of that, let that soak. I'm just wondering if these are threaded. Yeah. Be sure they're not threaded. These little holes right here in between where the bolts go, thought maybe I could thread a bolt in there and push the pulley off of it. But, that doesn't look like that's going to happen. So maybe let the penetrating fluid work a little bit. Of course, you all know how impatient we are when we're trying to fix something. We want it apart as soon as possible. Ironically, I can't do anything with it until I get this pulley off. I don't know if I can just shock it or not. Well, if those bearings aren't bad, they're going to be when I get done with it. It's on there. No doubt about that. Oh, wait a minute. Something might be happening. Oh, here, the water pump's coming apart. Oh, there it goes. My. Look at the crusties on that thing. Holy crap. I don't know where the weep hole is on those. Usually they're on the bottom. I wasn't losing any fluid. Again, the only reason I'm doing this is because the thermostat is stuck open. I'm going to have to get this cleaned up with some brake clean so this stuff doesn't get on the belt. If I could just be a little more disciplined to keep my bench clean. I end up working from a rolling stool. Huh. Yeah. Well, I am curious to see what that looks like in there. So, next step, I'll take these bolts out. I think they're 10 millimeter. Tell me anyway. Yes, they are. So I guess I should have started with the thermostat, but I'm telling you, I just don't think I'll be able to get to it through the fender over there. Now again, on a two-wheel drive, I think you probably could, but not with all that drag line in the way and it going right through the middle of the oil pan. It's just really, it's none on the bottom. Sorry about that. Like I said, well, you see him. Didn't need a hammer or anything. This looks like it's brass, this impeller, and it's, boy. Okay, well, I'm assuming this is the channel for the weep hole, and that's the weep hole. It's not wet. It's wet a little because obviously it spilled on there as I took it out, but if you look right on there, it says GM stamped right in it, and there's some kind of part number over on this side here. It's 24 something something 52. This is original. Isn't that something? There you go. There's half of today's job. Thing's in excellent shape. But obviously I can't put it in there, back in there, because, well, Murphy's Law. I changed the thermostat and then the water pump would go. So if you're going to take the time to drain all the fluid out of the vehicle, you might as well do the whole job. So that's what we're here for. So let me get the new one out of the box, and I want to do some comparison. I did get it from Advanced Auto. That's the part number he gave me, T1231, made in Mexico. That's probably all going to change now that Trump's in charge. You don't want to get started on politics. Oh. And I think that went right in the drain pan, so that's awesome. Yeah, we've got a gasket, and there's directions of some sort. An arrow, I guess it's a directional gasket perhaps. And here's the new one. And wow. Does not seem to be made of the same material, unless this one is, you know, just gotten hot and tarnished. But to me, this looks like stamped tin, steel, which tells me it's going to rust over time. I'm looking at the seals, the integrity of the seals, distance on the front, making sure these parts are the same. It's a match. I will say this new one feels heavier than this one, but this one appears more machined. It's got some more machined parts on it, if that makes sense. And that impeller is just not quite made the same. It's not on the same sort of angles, but what are you gonna do? That's what was available. I would have had to special order the actual AC Delco pump. I believe it was something like 80 bucks. This one was, I think, 50, 48 or 50. So that's what we're gonna use.